Good morning, everybody. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach here at Calvary Recovery. Today is our family meeting. If you didn't know, the month of September is Recovery Month and Suicide Prevention Month. And today's topic is why addiction is called a family disease. It's not just the individual disease, it is a family disease. And this article is by the sourcetreatmentcenter.com. This is why addiction is called a family disease, right? I'll hop into it. Addiction is a complex disease that often involves whole families. Addiction doesn't just affect addicts. The painful impacts of addiction are felt by everyone around them. The complex disease of addiction affects families in so many ways that addiction is often referred as a family disease. At the source, we believe that the healing family relationships is an essential part of recovery from addiction. As soon as all parties are ready, family therapy will play a central role in all treatment levels at the source. Yes, I like that. So it's about getting the individual the help, right? Getting the individual the treatment. If it's detox, inpatient, outpatient. So we instill some recovery in them. We give them some coping skills. We get the drugs and alcohol out of their system, and eventually it comes to the part where the amend process starts to to work, right? And that's through the talks can be about therapy, counseling, meetings, a sponsor, a home group. There's things that we do in recovery that we have to do so we can have these healthy relationships in our life and we can amend them. And we heard of burnt bridges, right? So some of them can be built back, right? And some of them are burnt, and some of them are done. But that's where acceptance part comes in. That's where the recovery part comes in to get better. So it goes how addiction impacts families. Witnessing a loved one struggling with addiction is stressful and devastating because drugs and alcohol change parts of the brain responsible for decision making and impulse control. Your loved one may engage in behavior that entirely out of character. They may steal, cheat, and lie in all sorts of ways. This behavior further complicates family relationships as trust is broken and people are left feeling angry and hurt. Loss of income due to a job loss may create a financial burden for the rest of the family as well as physical or emotional abuse is not uncommon. A family struggling with addiction because of the irritability and mental instability that can occur when someone is addicted and craving their drug of choice and predictable behaviors an addict may exhibit can leave family members feeling uneasy and even afraid. Yeah, so addiction is a very selfish and self-centered disease, right? Uh, we're not worried about anyone or anything. We're worried about our drugs and alcohol, and that's for the sum of it. Just speaking from my experience, and we didn't care how we hurt people, right? We didn't care if, and not just family and friends. Like I had to make a amends process to the court system, to the police officers, to the EMTs, to doctors. Everybody I came in contact with, right? I hurt in some type of way because I was not a good person, right? I was using drugs and alcohol, and I was destroying everything around me, and that was like a defense mechanism, right? I kept people from a arm's length, even family members, friends, right? I wanted to truly let them in, and I wouldn't really ask for help. I would ask for a little bit of help, but I wasn't willing to take the help, right? So like relationships is very important. That's what I learned in recovery is relationships is very important. To build healthy relationships, even more important because some relationships are not healthy. They're toxic, right? And they're not good for, my mental state and especially not my recovery, right? Because people, places, and things, I had to X all that out. I had to gain new friends, build on healthy and family relationships, to make that amend process and to be a better person and actively change. So we'll go on to how families impact addiction. Families suffer from addiction, but sometimes difficulties within a family are also a root cause of substance abuse disorder. In these cases, family therapy services to both heal the damage that active behavior have caused within the family and also heal underlying cause of addiction. We know that exposure to traumatic events, particularly in childhood, has been linked to substance use disorder. Numerous studies have shown a high correlation up to 59% between PTSD, mental health disorders, and substance abuse. Those who have survived traumatic events like abuse or neglect in childhood often turn to substance as a way to numb painful memories and emotions. It's also common for addiction to affect multiple generations within one family. There are hereditary and environmental factors involved in multiple generational addiction. Addiction as a parent can cause neglect, responsibilities including childcare, work, and relationships. Um, so how families impact addiction. Um, so sometimes, like it says, environmental. We're a product of our environment, right? My grandpa always said, you keep hanging around with them bad kids, you end up turning into one. And sure enough, I did. So it's like, as a kid, I always wanted to fit in, right? I wasn't willing to listen to my parents, right? I wasn't willing to listen to anybody. I always wanted to. I was a kid. I was hard headed. I was stubborn. I was selfish, and I just added drugs in the mix, and it turned me into somebody I didn't want to be. Right? I didn't know who I was, so I would turn to drugs and alcohol and thought it was fun. It was cool. My friends are doing it. So it was like not normal, but it was just like something a kid would do, right? That was my friends, my circle were all doing that. And the older I got, I didn't know my life was going to lead to where it was, and that's in the streets, and that's using strong drugs, and I had that gene in me that as soon as I put something in me, I can't stop, and I learned in recovery that I can't use any type of substance. I tried it, been there, done that. I tried different types of drugs and alcohol, different mixtures, right? And nothing ever worked for me. But I found recovery and I found, um, you know, what works for me today. So it's really important to build relationships. And it talks about childhood, because we go through stuff in childhood, neglect, abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, traumas, traumatic events. There's a lot of things that go on, and why we don't just wake up and use drugs and alcohol, right? Um, we have to uncover the things that why we were using drugs. We gotta have to get to the core. We have to get to the root why I kept on doing what I did, right? And that's all through support. That's all through families. That's all through you know a sponsor, through a mentor, through God, grace, and His mercy. Something and someone that I can confide in and help me. Right? We can't do this alone. And so what I'm basically saying is get some support. Very important. All right, let's see here. It says, let's skip one. I'm sorry. How families can help their addicted loved one. Even the most well-meaning family members often need guidance on helping an addicted loved one without enabling them. The best way to help your loved ones is to encourage them to seek treatment. This conversation is best conducted when the addict is sober in an environment where they feel comfortable. Consider how you want to address this conversation ahead of time, and prepare yourself by becoming more educated about the disease of addiction so you can approach your family member in a loving and non-judgmental way. Keep in mind the source as a naturally certified professional inter- interventionist on staff that can guide, assist you in confronting your loved one in a non-threatening way. A successful intervention allows an addict to see how their negative behavior impacts their lives and the lives of everyone around them. So sometimes when you just take me for instance, like if somebody tried to help me, right, I always got in the defense mode. I always felt like I was getting attacked because I was perceiving things of not helping me. I was they're judging me or they're attacking me. I always got self defense. I was always on defense mode, and so we have to watch what we say and how we say things. It's very important. And it's always good, and it talks about like to get more information on the disease of addiction, and that's through reading or get with a counselor or therapy. And there's meetings for families. I think it's called Al-Anon, people that lost people into addiction or trying to get information on people, loved ones that are using drugs and alcohol. It's always that educate yourself before even trying to. It's hard to understand, right? Because some people haven't been in them shoes before, and to actually wrap their head around it and to help you, they can not do it in a loving, caring way. It can cause add more fuel to the fire, right? So we have to watch how we approach things, and it talks about approaching in a non-threatening way, right? If you're doing an intervention, usually, it's always good to have somebody. I'm going to say sometimes outside of family, right? Always have that middle person to correlate these interventions or address the substance abuse is always good because usually some people can butt heads, one get agitated, one gets mad, somebody says something, somebody says something the wrong way, and usually it ends up worse than before, right? So it's always good to get more information, educate yourself, always have some kind of you know, specialist is good. And so you try to approach it in a better way, in a loving, caring way. And we talked about their family therapy at the source. The families we work with after or are often desperate to repair relationships that have been damaged by addiction and alcoholism. Family therapy and the source is here to help you do just that. An addiction family therapist will facilitate difficult conversations and help you heal old wounds. We also connect parents and children to clients with Al-Anon meetings. There's Al-Anon meetings. Helping adult children of alcoholics work through painful memories from growing up in an unstable environment can go a long way in preventing them from repeating the cycle at the source. You have access to the individual, family, and group therapy to help navigate your healing. Or one of a kind group focuses exclusively on issues and mimics a 12-step program or level one way one may be following. So it talks about helping you navigate your healing. That's what recovery is, I think, for me is about healing them old wounds because we have all these holes in us, right? And we're trying to fill it up with drugs and alcohol, and we're trying to fill it with other material things and toxic things is not healthy for us. So we're trying to fill these voids and these holes in us, and we're actually poison ourselves. So to flip that and go to the positive route of recovery is like filling us up with spiritual stuff. Going to church, going to meetings, going to finding a God of your understanding. There's a whole bunch of talking about yoga, meditation, physical therapy. 'Cause we got to get fit, we got to get physical, we got to take care of ourselves. Healthy, you know, going to the gym, eating better, learning these new coping skills, right? Instead of, changing our attitude, behaviors, and our thinking. We have a lot of things that we have new outlets to, you know, figure out why we use drugs and alcohol. Instead of using more drugs and alcohol to cover up and to mask what we're going through or we've been through. You know, just because we're poisoning ourselves, and it's like you come to a point in life. It's like we get clean, or we die, or we go in jail for the rest of our life. So like it comes to a point where you have to make a decision, right? And thank God, I made the right decision to get clean and get sober, and to better my life, and you know, be there for my family and my friends, because I didn't know how much damage I was causing. I knew to an extent, but I didn't know how much. Because my mom, she still has, moments where it's just crazy. It's sad because like I took sleepless nights from her, right? She still has like dreams and nightmares like of me using. It's like I impacted my family a lot. So I made that amends process through recovery, little by little. Sometimes we want what we want, and we want it yesterday, right? But like healing those wounds, and building these relationships back up, and amending the process with my family and friends, my environment, the legal system. Like it takes time, and it has. And my life has grown so much, and my family, loves me, and they like seeing me today. So recovery it's a blessing, man. And it's like, you have to find your pathway. I had to find mine, you got to find yours. And family support is really big. It's really big for me. Um, if my family gave up for me, maybe I wouldn't be here today. They never gave up on me. And they always kept on pushing. So that was the end of our meeting. Um, and like I said earlier, September is Recovery Month and Suicide Prevention Month. And that was our family meeting for today. Until next time, we'll see you later.